When I started experiencing chronic anxiety, one of the practices that I developed was yoga. It helped to be able to integrate both sides of my brain. It helped to be able to open up different parts of my brain so that I could access the frontal cortex so that I wouldn't feel as stressed and so I wouldn't have all of these exciting parts of my brain just going off to the point where I was just full of anxiety. It helped to be able to inhibit some of those but in a healthy, natural way. Now, I fell in love with yoga once I started doing it. I loved the connection of the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual all together. I loved the breathing. I loved the movements. I loved all of it. I loved the music, the symbols, the gongs that would strike, the chakra cards. You get the picture. I loved all of it. But something that I learned from practicing yoga that I feel like I've been able to use in every other part of my life, and I'm still trying to use it because, let's be honest, we're all a process. We're not a destination. So I'm still learning these things as well. But one of the terms you use when you begin practicing yoga is you realize really quickly that people don't say, I do yoga. People say, I practice yoga. Now that might not seem like a big difference. It's the difference of a word, right? Do versus practice. But the implications of that difference is really, really significant. If you do something, one and done, right? It's just one time. You just do it, it's done. It's very destination oriented. Or as I like to look at it, it's very fixed mindset oriented. But if you practice something, just within that word, it connotes that there's growth, that it's a process. It's a growth mindset way of looking at an activity that you're doing or looking at yourself, that it's a process. So we don't do yoga, we practice yoga. What if we looked at life like that? Now, most of us look at life like we do life and we're supposed to do it right, right? Yeah, we totally look at it that way. I've totally looked at it that way myself. I have to catch myself because I still have those beliefs that resurface of, I'm doing life and I did it wrong this time, or I could have done it better this time, or I messed things up and it's too late this time. But none of that's actually true, right? Life is a process. We are practicing life. We're practicing all of these things that we're trying to learn. And yeah, maybe we're all in different phases and different stages, but all of us are just trying to practice. Now, do you see how if you looked at life that way, it would allow you to give yourself more grace? If you just say, I'm practicing. I don't have it down perfectly yet. I'm practicing and I'm going to continue to get better. Do you also see how it would allow more grace for other people in your life? If instead of getting frustrated that they didn't do it right or do it the way you wanted them to do it or do it according to your values, that they also are practicing. They're practicing life. And yeah, maybe this was a rough practice this time, but they're just practicing. When our kids were little, I started saying something to them, and it was, this is my first time. Because as a young mom, I was messing up all the time. I'm still messing up all the time. And I realized really quickly that that was a limiting belief I had, that there's a right way to do this, and I need to have it figured out. And if I don't have it figured out, it's going to be really damaging for my children. Because let's be honest, we're all trying. We are all doing our best, and we're all doing the best with what we got and where we came from. So instead, I tried to switch that belief, and sometimes I'd make mistakes, and sometimes my kids would tell me, like, this bothered me when you did this, or this hurt my feelings, and I tried to allow space for that. And I would just say to them, you know what, this is my first time. I've never done this before. I'm learning, I'm growing, but I am totally willing to practice being a mom with you. And I'm totally willing to be able to talk to this and talk to you about this and engage in this relationship. And that's been such a blessing for me and for my children as well, to realize that you're practicing life. You don't have to get it all right. You can't get it all right. But practicing, that is getting it right. Practicing, not just doing, but practicing. I've appreciated that perspective, and I hope you appreciate it too.